President Joe Biden testing positive again for COVID-19. This after 4 straight days of negative tests, according to the president's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who says this is a rare rebound case. More on that in a moment. But first, the president posting a video on Twitter this afternoon.
Hey folks, Joe Biden here. Tested positive this morning. Going to be working from home for the next couple of days. And feeling fine. Everything's good. But Commander and I got a lot of work to do.
Now, here's the timeline we have from the White House. The president first tested positive for the virus last Thursday, July 21st. 6 days later, he ended his isolation on Wednesday, the 27th. That was after he had already tested negative twice. As we mentioned, his physician says Biden tested negative on Tuesday through Friday. So that means he kept getting tested despite already getting multiple negative tests. But now, an antigen test this morning came back positive. After the president first tested positive, doctors determined he contracted the highly contagious BA.5 Omicron subvariant, which is the predominant strain right now in the U.S. The 79-year-old, who was fully vaccinated and double boosted, experienced mild symptoms and took the antiviral medication Paxlovid while he recovered. Dr. O'Connor says in today's new note released by the White House that a small percentage of patients treated with Paxlovid do experience a COVID rebound, and that's why the president continued getting tested. The president says today he has no symptoms, which Dr. O'Connor is backing up, writing in part, quote, "The president has experienced no reemergence of symptoms and continues to feel quite well. This being the case, there is no reason to reinitiate treatment at this time, but we will obviously continue close observation." Now, just like the last time, the president plans to continue working while in isolation. President Biden on Wednesday speaking in the Rose Garden after ending that first isolation. Infectious disease specialist Dr. William Schaffner is back with us this weekend. Dr. Schaffner, thanks for coming on the show. Okay, so President Biden, who is 79, testing positive for COVID yet again, but he is not showing symptoms. So how concerned are you about his health right now?
Jay, this is actually something that's fairly common. About 20% of people who receive Paxlovid, that's that antiviral drug that's designed to prevent you from getting serious disease, you take that drug for 5 days and some people have a relapse. They become positive and some people actually develop some symptoms. This is usually of short duration and mild and is not concerning. This is not a second infection. This is just that same infection raising its head briefly once again.
So you're not concerned at all about this becoming a more serious case for the president?
We're not really concerned about that. The accumulated data would indicate, as I say, about 20% of people, 1 out of 5, may have a mild relapse after they stop their Paxlovid. You know, if that Paxlovid puts the virus to sleep, it prevents it from multiplying. And after you stop the Paxlovid, some of that virus may be still there and wakes up a little bit. But by that time, your body is ready to overcome it. So this is usually brief. And I'm impressed that the president doesn't have any symptoms at all, at least as reported, because some people do have some, but they're very brief, they're relatively mild, and they go away quickly.
So help me make sense of this, because the president tested negative 4 days in a row and is now positive again. Could those have been false negatives, or that this could be a false positive? How does it work?
I think what's more likely is that there was such small amounts of virus present that the test couldn't detect it. And now that the virus has had a few more days to recover from the Paxlovid and start to multiply a little bit, that we've got another positive test. So I think this is what we might call a relapse rather than a second new infection. That's possible, but I think very unlikely.
I want to get your thoughts on just the state of COVID overall. A majority of the country has now been infected with some form of the virus. We have these Omicron subvariants kind of running wild right now. What's your level of concern for the country and the world as we deal with this pandemic still?
Well, Jay, we're in vastly better shape than we were a year ago, where we had large numbers of cases and large numbers of hospitalizations and consequent deaths. Today, what we call the population immunity is much higher. So many people have been vaccinated. Many others have acquired the infection itself and recovered. So our level of immunity in the community is much larger. Now, these Omicron variants, so very contagious, can indeed infect people who've been previously vaccinated or who have recovered from illness, but they generally produce very, very mild disease. So at the moment, we see a mild, serious cold out there spreading, but we don't see much of an increase in hospitalizations. That's a good thing. And deaths really haven't ticked up in a notable fashion. So far, so good. But the basic theme remains: if you haven't been vaccinated, please get your vaccine. And if you're not up to date in all your boosters, please do that, because it's the vaccine with the boosters that are keeping the lid on COVID.
And just real quick, 10 seconds here. Do you have any idea when that second booster will be available for the younger populations?
I'm not sure that the younger populations will be recommended for a second booster, because our current vaccines are keeping them out of the hospital. The next big thing, of course, is anticipated an updated vaccine, which we hope will be available soon this fall.
Dr. William Schaffner, always a pleasure, sir.